Remember Playboy magazine? That once great ubiquitous magazine featuring all kinds of hot and sexy women in various provocative postures that, had a bit of a rough time. In fact, it hasn't been released now for something like 5 years, I believe, which, hey, to be fair, it probably is also remarkably outdated at this point. Well, it had some ideas in the past, you see, including a lizzo feature. As she quoted here, Lizzo in Playboy magazine everywhere, being fat, black, and beautiful. Okie dokie then. This was not a very good idea for Playboy magazine. Absurdly enough, this did not really hit home. Body positivity has to be mainstream. The speech issue. It turns out that when people were buying magazines to jerk off to, they weren't actually thinking about body positivity, or even indeed free speech at the time. Simply did not rank very highly amongst their priorities. So yeah, that was that didn't work out very well at all. To the point now that Playboy magazine has decided to go with a rather fresh and revolutionary approach by getting a hot woman to pose for them instead. Wow, how very avant-garde, and it only took them 5 years to arrive at this conclusion. God damn it. We do live in clown world, don't we? We really, unironically, genuinely do. Although I suppose you could argue that, this is a sign that history is healing to a degree, with the Playboy magazine, as they mentioned, being relaunched this month after a 5-year hiatus, which features bold articles and a fully nude centerfold, which comes after the failed woke rebrand. Can you imagine? Can you actually imagine a woke Playboy? Well, I mean, I suppose it would look a lot like the Lizzo cover, but just fat bitches stretching themselves out of lounges and various pieces of sofas and furnitures, attempting to drape themselves across nearby items so as to be provocative? Provocative may indeed be the correct word, but not necessarily the version of provocative that everybody was looking for. And yet here we can see a bit of a different approach, yet again, from Lizzo. And hey, credit where credit is due. She has lost a lot of weight. Maybe she can return to Playboy magazine soon. Snork. Hey, Jesus. Now, to take this in a bit of a wider direction rather than just mocking the nonsense, does this even have any legs to stand on? I very much so doubt so, honestly. See, we are entering basically another era of war against pornography now, as we are beginning to move in a right-leaning direction. And what happens pretty much every time a political position gains prominence and really starts soaring is that it starts going crazy. In this case, it's probably going to be a generalized war on pornography, just like the left did and just like the right did before that again, and so on and so on. So this is not a very good time to relaunch Playboy magazine, nor really could it even count on hordes of adoring fans rushing out to buying it again, because it's been 5 years. What adoring fans you may have once had have largely dispersed into the wilderness of OnlyFans at this point. And, you still have some brand recognition at least, but you flushed most of that down the toilet already by bringing Lizzo on board to sink your boat. Weirdly enough, you really aren't going to be relaunching this with a whole lot of good faith and simply putting hot chicks in a magazine form again isn't really going to help you when that is all you have to offer, unless the article writing has seriously soared since last time. Merely having hot chicks isn't going to be enough, because as beautiful as this individual here absolutely is, you can just go to Google and probably find her OnlyFans page in all due likelihood. You can probably go up about 500 of her nude pictures in 5 seconds, or at the very least swimsuits and other provocative poses. In the age of the internet, the magazine is outdated in the extreme. Even news publications who are offering a service that people kind of do need in, keeping track of the world, they are failing by the dozens. Even like sports magazines and things with a very specific niche are beginning to flag. And, well, porn isn't really particularly niche anymore. In fact, it's gotten, if anything, too commonplace, to the point where it's actually getting rather difficult to avoid it, rather than struggling to find it. So, I don't see this rebrand working out very well, regardless of how unwoke it is. Now, what could potentially have worked, I suppose, is if you, Peter Molyneux'd the shit out of it and relaunched it specifically as an anti-woke thing. If you took the platform that remains to you, no matter how ragged, and mounted it with a declaration of anti-wokeness and a celebration of feminine beauty, maybe, but even then, you'd basically be dependent upon the internet at large, pulling you back into their bosom, which I just don't see happening. You could perhaps create it into some form of a niche magazine, writing articles on very specific subjects, such as a state-of-the-art LA sex party, bachelorettes on the prowl, a dispatch from a secret tech billionaire retreat. Okay, there you go, that's something, right? 25 things you absolutely must do in 2025 or before the world ends. What? The meteor? Oh right, a meteor's gonna strike Earth. Well, like a 2% chance. We're not that lucky. Besides, it's only the size of a city or so. It's only going to create a Tunguska-sized crater. And judging by the majority of the Earth being empty landmass and/or ocean, it's unlikely to be half as interesting as everybody is making it out to be. But we live in hope, don't we? We are back with Laurie Harvey, the Playmate of the Year. Unless they unless they pivot hard into being an extreme speciality magazine for men, a gentleman's publication essentially, and even then you've got websites and YouTube channels for that too now. I don't see this working out, no matter how many attractive centerfolds they place in, no matter how many non-lizzos they hire to front their product, so too little, too late. And hey, Playboy magazine would actually have been in a position to do well, 5 years ago, if it, as a product aimed pretty much exclusively at a male demographic, would actually have stood by that male demographic, hearkened to it, bolstered it, and, well, actually pushed its agenda and point of view, then mayhaps it could have come into 2025 with a tremendous amount of goodwill as a last remaining bastion of something that was actually for men and just for men. Something that is not only rare these days, but in essence extinct. But they didn't. Instead, they tried to tell you about body positivity. I don't think so. I see no particular reason why anyone should welcome this return with open arms. If anything, this will just be one more corporation to die, because it made the incorrect choices and forgot who was actually purchasing their products. Fuck 'em. Literally. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.